9:05 morning. This is a Civil Service Commission meeting. It is a special meeting. Today is Friday, August the 20th, 2021. Call this meeting to order. May I have roll call, please? Present.
Mario Liscano, Vice Chairperson. Board Member Vittorio Puente.
Present.
We do have a quorum. Do I need a motion to excuse Mario Liscano?
I make a motion to excuse Mario Liscano.
Second motion, and Mr. Liscano has been excused. We'll go on to the regular. Do we have any public testimonies? We'll
No.
go on to item 3, regular agenda. This is an open session. Approval of minutes for Friday, July 16, 2021. This is a special call meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for Friday, July 16th, 2021.
Second motion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And the minutes have been approved as written. We go on to item B, consideration and action to extend the deadline for the disciplinary hearing of Deputy Chief Eloy Salazar of the Fire Department, Pharr Fire Department, and set a new date for the hearing pursuant to section 143.053B, Texas Local Government Code. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Rodriguez, Commissioner Puente. My name is John Michael Hayward. I represent the city of Pharr. I'm here to discuss the date. We were supposed to agree on either October 1st or October 5th. Mr. Salazar present, or an attorney or representative? Okay. I don't know. Did y'all see him in the hallway? Okay. Mind if I just check real quick? Just to see if he's
Yes,
in the
could you
hallway?
speak a little louder or get closer to the,
I apologize.
Thank you.
I'm going to just check real quick and see if Mr. Salazar is outside.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
I usually get accused of being way too loud, so I was trying to work on my inside
No,
voice. I
and
apologize.
I'm hard of hearing, so you better get close to this microphone. Thank you.
Okay, well, he's not here, commissioners. I don't really know what you'd like to do with that. The last time we spoke, the representative, we were looking at either October 1st or October 5th. Either date is okay with us.
Are you asking for 2 days? You
Pardon?
asking for,
I'm just saying that either date was what
Either
works
date.
for us.
Either date
It
works.
should just be a one day, but
Mhm.
either October 1st or October 5th.
any questions for Joe?
Mm-mm.
Do I hear a motion on this?
Well,
We do have to approve one or the other, the 1st or the 5th. Do you know
Yes,
when
ma'am.
they fall?
Can I get my phone real quick? I
Sure.
can tell you. First is on Friday, and the 5th is on Tuesday. Okay, the 1st is on a Friday, the 5th is on a Tuesday.
I'd like to make a motion to make the date October 1st, Friday.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I second the motion. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
So we'll go ahead and meet on October 1st.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Go on to item C. Conduct a disciplinary hearing on the disciplinary appeal filed by Lieutenant Crystal Guerra of the Fire Department pursuant to section 143.053B Texas Local Code and the Pharr Civil Service Commission rules.
Hello, John Michael Hayward again for the city. We have everything set up here. The commissioners will accompany us here. We got some chairs for you,
Okay.
and we have the court reporter there.
Got it.
we will deviate from the order of the, we're going here. Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I mean, one of those ones. How's this? Okay, so there's a little switch here on the top. You just slide that over and the green light should come on.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna try and do this.
This.
I'll do it too. You can if you want. Wired.
Thank you for your patience.
Oh,
Now we can go to. We're ready for.
okay. Okay, typically, at the start of these things, we discuss any type of evidentiary issues that there are before we start opening statements. I presented everybody with a folder of the city's exhibits. I am asking that these exhibits be stipulated in the record for purposes of saving time. The first exhibit, Exhibit A, is the Pharr Civil Service Commission rules. I mean, I don't think I really need to ask for that to be stipulated in. It's just the rules that govern this hearing. But the rest of the exhibits, B all the way through the end, B7, are the procedural documents that make up this hearing. The first is the 614 notice, which is a statutory requirement. The second is the notice and order for disciplinary hearing. And the third one is the notice and order of suspension of 5-day, which is, again, the reason that we're here. That's what the grievant, Lieutenant Garrett, is appealing. So I'm not sure. I haven't really had a chance to talk to the attorney on the other side to see if we could go ahead and stipulate those into the record. Okay.
And in fact, we would point out that basically under the rules, the department head is restricted to the department head's original written statement and charges, which may not be amended. The only original written statement and charges was the letter of July 21st, 2021. It has no attachments to it. It has no exhibits attached to it. That is what they are limited to, and the rules quite clearly say it may not be amended.
Well, that's incorrect, but I mean, he doesn't have to accept that, I guess. I would just point back to the Civil Service Commission rules. This is actually on Rule 40, Section K. It's on page 22 of the Civil Service Rules. K says, yes, I'm sorry. It's if you turn to page 22 of the Civil Service Commission rules in Exhibit A,
Is that A?
Oh, it should be down here.
I think A is the fire and police civil service commission.
Okay, so on section K there, it says presentations by both parties shall be as brief and as closely related to the issues as much as possible. To this end, parties shall be encouraged to stipulate to as many uncontested factual or legal issues as possible so as to streamline the hearing to the contested issues only. Notice and order of discipline, which is Exhibit D, which is what she is appealing here today, deals with 2 dates that she's being disciplined for. One is March 24th, 2021. The second is June 4th, 2021. That is why we're here today. Those are the only things applicable to this hearing. Again, I'll leave it up to the commission. I can certainly just go page by page and we can stay here all day to try and enter everything into evidence. Or what happens a lot of the times typically in these hearings is you all just take this, we go through it, and then you can give it whatever weight you want at the end. And that would be fine by me.
First of all, we would say that under Rule 143.010F, the witnesses shall be placed.
And we can get to that in a second, but if we could deal with, and I'm okay with, I'm actually fine with that. If we want to invoke the rule, the witnesses, with the exception of the chief here and obviously the grievant, they need to stay for the hearing. But yeah, we can do that. We can excuse them out. But if we could take care of this evidentiary issue right now.
And this evidentiary hearing, if you
Then-
look at,
Hold on one second. Gentlemen, please, anybody that's
We
here
ask
as
the
a
witnesses
witness. Yeah, sorry.
We're gonna ask the witnesses to leave the room. Thank you.
So again, just for purposes of streamlining everything, I would ask that this notebook be admitted into evidence at this time. If you can give it whatever weight you want at the end of this, I would remind everybody as well, and this is on page 23 of the Civil Service Rules. And it's Rule 41, Ruling on Evidence. Section A, technical rules of courtroom evidence shall not strictly apply or control. And again, with this, just for purposes of streamlining, I would just say we can admit this in evidence at this time, and then y'all can decide what you want to do with it
And
later.
I will allow it.
can
Thank
I be
you.
heard first? May I be heard first?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Thank
the
you. I'm
actual
sorry.
local government code. And the local government code, which controls all of this, says specifically, in each hearing, appeal, or review of any kind in which the commission performs an adjudicatory function, they're entitled to be represented by counsel, which is why I'm here.
Right.
And then it says that the department head, in the hearing conducted under this section, the department head is restricted to the department head's original written statement and charges, which may not be amended. And his original statement and charges had to be provided to you within so many days or so many hours. That was done, and that is this letter here, his July 21st, 2021 letter. That's it. I would note in there that he's got a complaint in there for January 11th, 2021, which council, I guess, has agreed because it's outside the 180 days will not be considered. But there's also a lot of other documents here about other conduct that is outside the 180 days. It cannot be considered, and it would be biased, prejudice to the panel. So what they should be limited to is exactly what the rules say. He is limited to the original written statement. That is this document only.
Okay, I think, and I believe that council is maybe a little bit confused on how some of this works. So the first thing is again, I mean, of course, Texas local government rules apply. However, she has invoked the right to have her case heard before this commission. So the Civil Service Commission rules obviously apply to this, and that's what we're talking about. As far as the notice and order of discipline, I mean, Exhibit D that we have here is the notice order of discipline. It's got her signature on it. And the exhibits that are attached to it are the exhibits that were used by the chief in order to determine the notice and order of discipline. Again, if he wants to say otherwise and he wants to try and cross-examine a witness on that or something like that, I mean, he can do whatever he wants with that. But these are the city's exhibits, and the city is saying that this is the notice and order of discipline. She has her signature on, that's why we're here. Again, I think you've already ruled on this. We can just let it in and then we could just go forward.
Well, I thought we want to follow the rules because one of rule says specifically. And this says, during the hearing, in a hearing conducted under this chapter, which is what this hearing is, the department head is restricted to the department head's original written statement and charges, which may not be amended. And there's all kinds of stuff in the D2, D3, D4, all kinds of things that weren't part of the original statement. The original statement that he provided to you all, as you look at his July 21st, 2021 letter, where he's got 3 allegations.
Right, the July 21st letter. That's exactly what's in Exhibit D, July 21st letter.
Exhibit D also includes, if you look, D2, D3, D4, all those
Right.
other ones are not enclosures on this. This says clearly, and you look at it, and look at D1, it says a copy of this notice of disciplinary suspension shall serve as a written statement filed with the Civil Service Commission, giving the reasons for. And this is the letter. There is no, it doesn't say any enclosures here, it doesn't say any attachments. This is what they're restricted
Right.
to, and the law is quite clear that they may not amend it at this late.
Okay, again, I think council's mistaken here. The notice and order of discipline, which is Exhibit D, he's absolutely correct. That's the charging document. Under the factual grounds, statements 1 through 7 are what are at issue here. He's also, I'm perfectly fine saying that's absolutely correct. March 24th and June 4th are the dates for which she was disciplined. Hold on a second. There's no argument here with that. These exhibits that are attached here are the exhibits that the chief used to make his notice and order of discipline. They are part of this document. If he wants to argue that, that's fine. We're not saying that. I'm not asking you to make a decision on a ruling on her discipline at this time. I'm simply following Civil Service Commission rules and saying, you know, do we need to be here for 2 days going through every single page of document? You can give it whatever weight you want. The rules say that you can do that. If we could just move on for this and get the hearing started.
Actually, what the rules say is you can't supplement it at all. That's what the rules say, and he maybe is misunderstanding it.
Nobody's
He said-
supplementing
excuse
it.
me, Counsel, I didn't- Also, he
He
said
did,
that the
but-
only things that he sanctioned her on were for March 24th and June 4th. If you look at his letter, he also sanctioned her for January 11th, 2021, which was improper. It was more than 180 days before that, and under section 143.052H, he was not allowed to do that. His punishment included that one. A
No, it
lot of
didn't.
these documents are talking about that one. That is not allowed. And in fact, if you look at specifically Rule 143.052H, it says, if the original written statement and charges in any hearing conducted under this chapter, the department head may not complain of an act that occurred more than 180 days preceding the date the department head suspends the firefighter or police officer. That occurred more than 180 days. We've got the calculations here.
Okay.
Basically, that would be January.
Okay, all right, look.
Gentlemen.
We're
Gentlemen, let-
we're
let
getting
me-
into
let me-
argument. You're testifying at this point. You're getting into argument.
Gentlemen, I've already ruled, we're going to review when we debate and take your arguments at that time.
Thank you,
Okay?
ma'am.
And take them into account. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So,
Okay, at this time, if we can, since it's our burden to go, we'll give the opening argument first. If that's okay with you all.
you can? So we do this? Okay, we're still on the disciplinary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is
morning.
Casey Aforte. I represent the department in this case. And this is a very simple case with simple facts. Okay, the evidence will show that on March 4th, 2021, March 24th, 2021, and June 2021, Lieutenant Guetta was outside her assigned station, outside her assigned district, without authorization or permission. That's what this case is about. In violation of the rules, regulations, and policies as stated in the order of discipline. Now, she may attempt to take you down some rabbit hole about how other people in the department were doing it, about how she didn't leave her assigned station unattended, or about how she had a grievance with other fire personnel. That's not relevant here. As Mr. Holt stated, everything that's relevant is in the order and notice of discipline. In fact, the evidence will conclusively show that she admitted to leaving her assigned station. She admitted to leaving her district. without authorization or permission. She didn't get permission to leave. She left for whatever reason, personal business, and she thought it was okay. As stated in the order and notice and discipline, it was in violation of the rules and policy at the time. And that's why she was suspended for 5 days. Very lenient suspension. And the fact is she's a lieutenant. And she was expected to be at her station because she's a leader. They could look to her for guidance. So when she was outside of her assigned station, imagine had they gotten a call and she was not there. And in fact, as the evidence will show, that did in fact happen. That's why she was suspended for 5 days. And at the end of this hearing, we are going to ask that you uphold the 5-day suspension.
Continue. Okay. Mr. Holt?
I'll reserve mine for my case.
At this time, we are going to call our first witness, which is Assistant Jacob Salinas.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna go get him real quick in the hallway. Here, let me give this to you. You got it? Assistant Jacob Salinas.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you. Continue.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for being with us today. Can you please state your name and position?
Ah.
Testing.
Hello?
This next to
Is
you.
that better? Okay. You're welcome. Okay. Can you please state your name and position one more time?
Jacob Salinas, Assistant Chief.
And how long have you been working for the department?
And this coming February is going to be 33 years.
And when did you become the Assistant Fire Chief?
Next month is going to be 2 years, sometime next month.
And what are some of the duties assigned to you as Assistant Fire Chief?
My duties for administration, requisition forms, taking care of the trucks, personal issues, payroll at times.
Okay. And if you can get the binder, please, and please open to Exhibit D.
Okay.
Can you tell the commission what this document is?
This is a notice of discipline for the possible suspension of 5 days and notice of appeal rights that was given to Lieutenant Guerra.
Okay, and I'm going to point your attention to the factual grounds of the proposed disciplinary action. 3 dates are listed there. Can you tell the commission what 3 dates those are?
Well, we're talking about calendar days there. So
So it's January 11th, 2021, March 24th, 2021, and June 4th, 2021? And the three under the factual grounds of the proposed disciplinary action?
Let me object again. We're talking about January 11th. I think it was already stipulated. should be known to anybody in the original written statement. Department may not complain of an act that occurred more than 180 days preceding. That's clearly more than 180 days.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in here for a second, since, like I've said before, this is going into argument, but since we're already talking about it, fine. Yes, we've already stipulated she hasn't been disciplined for March 24th or June 4th. However, you could still use pattern evidence. You could still show evidence of a pattern. She doesn't have to be disciplined for January 11th, but we can provide testimony to it. Again, the commission could do whatever they want with that, but that's perfectly fine. And under the rules, as Mr. Hull knows, somebody can be reprimanded for something outside of 180 days. We're talking about discipline days. She was only disciplined for March 24th and June 4th. But the other thing is, we can certainly have testimony as to pattern, and it's in the charging document.
And just to make it clear, the charging document itself says she was disciplined for January 11th, 2021. He's trying to rewrite that, but it says these are the factual grounds for the proposed disciplinary action. It doesn't say pattern of practice. It says January.
Again, since Mr. Hull is trying to do argument and testify again, he would take this up with the chief. You can ask him yourself, and we can ask him together what she was actually disciplined for. He is able to put down pattern evidence in here. This is, I've actually never heard anybody make this argument before, but since we're addressing it, again, I would just say to allow this to continue without so many interruptions.
We
Well, I
shall
thought we
allow,
were gonna follow the
we'll allow
rules.
this. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand what's going on.
Okay, okay, let's just go to exhibit D1, please.
Okay. On the factual grounds,
No, if you can turn the
D1. Okay,
D1.
got you.
D1, ma'am.
Yes.
Now, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
What is it?
The document that I wrote to Chief Perez with the facts and findings with against Lieutenant Guerra.
And is that your initials there
Those are
on the
them.
top?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, we would ask that this be admitted into.
30.
Oh, okay. Okay, then, let's go to the third paragraph. It says on Wednesday, November 11th, 2020, you saw Lieutenant Guerra at District 1.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
And what was her assigned station at that time?
Our science station was District 2.
District 2. So she would, to your knowledge, did she have permission to be at District 1?
There at the time, I did not ask her or approach her. I approached her immediate supervisor on a later date, which was Chief Manuel Renta, Deputy Chief Manuel Renta.
Okay.
And he said no.
Okay. Then, so that's one day that she was not at her assigned district, which was
Yes.
supposed to be. Okay. Then I'm going to point your attention to another date. And it's there at the very bottom paragraph. It's June 11th, 2021.
Correct.
And is that another date that you saw Lieutenant Guerra outside of her assigned district?
Yes.
Can you explain to the commission what happened that day?
Well, that day, basically, we had one individual that was dismissed earlier for a different offense. And that date he had called to see if he could turn in his firefighting gear. So what I did, I met with him and I called Lieutenant Guerra if her and her crew could go out in service, go 10-8. And so so Silva could save face, not be embarrassed having to face some of his past co-workers. And after we finished with Mr. Guerra, with Mr. Silva, Chief Arispe was there, Deputy Chief Arispe. He was there as a witness when I was picking up the gear from probation firefighter Silva. We stayed there talking for a while, and I told Chief Arispe I need to take off. It was already after 5, and I need to go to Station 1 to go meet with one of the firefighters because we're going to be giving the promotion exam again and see if he wanted to take the exam.
Okay. And what does 10-8 mean again?
10-8 means go in service. Those are 10 codes that we used to use pretty much in my time when I started in the fire department.
Okay, and does that mean that you can leave your assigned district?
You should stay in your district. We have four districts. Those lieutenants are assigned to that district. They're responsible for that district. When they're going to leave a district, they should advise their immediate supervisor that they have an intention to leave into another district. And that is in the rules and regulations, the SOPs, on the responsibilities on an officer. There's going to be section X, and it tells you there clearly.
Okay, so then you arrived at Station 1 and you noticed that Lieutenant Guerra was there?
Yes, and her crew from Station 2, which was from her engine company.
Okay. Her entire crew was with her?
Only a couple individuals.
Okay. And how many firefighters are assigned to each station?
Well, it depends. The North Station, at this current time, we have 5 firefighters are assigned there. And the reason we have 5 assigned is basically because of all the construction going on. Is one of our busiest stations. So that is our busiest station. Our central station, which is Station 2, that varies because you do have people out, but in most cases we do have 8. Station 3, we have pretty much 4 firefighters that are assigned at this time. Station 3 we have 4, and Station 4 we have 4 as well.
Okay. And when you arrived at Station 1 and you noticed that Crystal Guerra was outside of her assigned district, did you tell her anything?
Yes, I did. I mean, she asked me how it went. I told her, well, ma'am, I need you and your crew to go back to your district, to your station.
Could you speak louder, please?
Yes, I did tell her if her and her crew could go back to their assigned station, which is Station 2. And that was pretty much the end of our conversation. And I went inside the building and I met with the firefighter that I was there for to get that notice signed on his intent to test for engineer. And that was basically it.
And at that time, did you find it necessary to either reprimand or report her to her immediate supervisor?
No, when I told her there, I thought by me telling her there and her waiting her actions, there won't be no more need to bring it up again. So that was basically it.
Okay. Now, I'm going to point you to another date, which is the March 24th, 2021. If you turn the page, on page 20. Okay.
Okay.
So that's another date that you saw Lieutenant Crystal Guerra outside of her assigned station. Is that correct?
Yes, only Lieutenant Guerra.
Okay. Can you tell the commission what happened?
At that date, I had to go again to Station 1, and this time was to drop off a notice for the date of the testing for engineer. And it was already toward the end of the day. And when I got there, I found Lieutenant Guerra out of her district, and basically 2 districts because she was already assigned to District 3, 2 districts away from her assigned district. And that was also the date that she had come in and met with Chief Bettis previously, dropping off a letter. So it was to my surprise to find her there.
Why was it to your surprise to find her there?
Well, basically, she just finished dropping off a letter of rebuttal of all the accusations that Engineer Hernandez had written that they were not true. And I had just finished reading it, and then I found her over at that location. And then I didn't say much because maybe she did have permission from our immediate supervisor. When at that time we didn't have Chief Renta, we had Deputy Chief Carlos Arispe as her supervisor. So what I did basically is call at a later time and find out if he has given her permission to be there. And that was pretty much it.
And you did call Chief Arispe,
Yes, I did.
and did she have permission to be there?
No, she didn't.
No,
She was
didn't.
not aware.
Okay, and was one of the allegations stated that she was outside of her assigned district without anybody knowing?
Correct.
Yes, okay. And then, now, are there any other times that you know that Lieutenant Crystal Guerra was outside of her assigned station?
Not that I witnessed, but Yes, there was an accident that happened back in June the 4th. All the details are listed in a different report not done by me.
Okay, and I'm just gonna ask you a few other questions. What's the purpose of having, or why is it important that a firefighter stays in their assigned district?
But we have a response time, and it's in our SOPs that we would like to arrive at that location within 5 minutes of whatever emergency may arrive. So it's in the section 100.38 of the SOPs.
Okay, and how far is Station 3 from Station 1?
How far is it? I'm not sure. It's approximately 5.9 miles.
5.9 miles.
Approx-
So would that be maybe 10, 15 minutes?
10, 15 minutes if we don't have traffic, but with all the construction going on, it's gonna be pretty much impossible.
So if
And-
Lieutenant Guetta was at Station 1 and a call came in and for her assigned district,
Correct.
would she be able to make it in time to go to a call within her assigned district?
It'll be impossible because she was in the service unit assigned to Station 3, and that service unit does not have lights or sirens.
Okay, and what are some of the responsibilities of a lieutenant as an officer?
Make sure that the equipment's working, the truck's working, her personnel are all ready. Any other issues that need to be taken care of, address them, and then also be the key officer at the scene. Most of the time, she's going to be the incident commander because when the call comes in, she's going to be the first arriving officer at the scene. So her leadership is very important to be out there, and also to maintain discipline at her station. That's another key role there.
All right, we'll pass the witness.
Assistant Chief Salinas, my name is Ronald Pharr. How are you doing this morning?
Good, thank you.
You understand you're testifying under oath here today?
Yes, sir.
Even though this appears to be.
Yes, sir.
Here, you understand that the same penalties for perjury and untruthfulness apply to just as in trying to find life before death.
Yes,
Okay. What I want to ask you is, first of all, you said leadership is important. That comes from the top, does it not?
correct.
And who was the leadership at the top during this period of time that Lieutenant Pharr was supposedly in violation of the rules? The one that set the example for following the rules.
It should come from the top officers, the
And
administration.
would you be one of those?
I'll be one of them.
And who would another one be?
Chief Bettis at that time.
Okay. And with respect to using company vehicles to do personal items, that's prohibited by the rules, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but
But are you aware the chief has done that on numerous occasions? He said leadership comes from the top. And
Let's stick to the facts facts that were presented by the attorney and by the witness. Let's not deviate from that, so let's continue. Go ahead, thank you.
You're basically saying I'm not allowed to question this witness about, he just testified,
No.
leadership, excuse me, he said leadership is important for the lieutenant. So I asked him about leadership, which is what they were asking about. Leadership comes from the top. So we want to know what was the example being set by the leaders. I think that's critically important. What was the example being set by the leaders? Were the leaders using their personal vehicles for just doing personal items, or they were using company vehicles for personal items?
maybe
You're under oath, sir.
we are assigned vehicles. We also get a lunch, a break, and if it's underway, our schedule is very different than say 8 to 5. It's not like we're assigned to a station.
If you-
Again, we need to stick to the rules. We need to stick to the case that we are listening to.
Okay, what
Okay.
is your understanding of what the case we're listening to? Is that basically, are we gonna follow the rules and go by the charging instrument?
We're going by the charging instrument
Okay.
here.
And
That's
are you
about
aware
it.
that the charging instrument contains an allegation for January 11th, 2021, which is prohibited by the code because it's more than 180 days before the suspension?
This one's not going to be used. This is only a pattern that I know
What's
of.
not gonna be used?
The 11th, it's out of the 180 days, sir.
Well, we'll talk to the chief about that because it's listed under the factual factual grounds of the proposed. Do you see that?
Yes, I see it.
And are those the factual grounds? Does it have January 11th listed?
It has January 11th.
Okay. And you would agree, would you not, sir, that that's outside the 180 days?
Yes, it is.
Okay. In fact, if we look at your statement, you say that you saw her assigned on November 11th, 2020. Well, that's way outside the 180 days, isn't it?
Yes, but it's only a pattern. It's not.
I didn't ask you if it was a pattern, sir. I asked you was it outside the 180
Yes, it
days.
is.
Okay.
Yes, it
And
is.
then you're in January 11th, that's outside the 180 days, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. And let me ask you this. Have you read the City of Pharr, Texas Fire and Police Civil Service Commission's rules and regulations?
At times, yes.
Well, when's the last time you were provided a copy?
We all have copies.
Okay, you just testified under oath. We all have copies. Is that to be true? You know that to be true?
It should be true.
Well, I didn't ask if it should be. How were these distributed to?
Objection. Where's
How
this
are these
going?
distributed?
Overruled.
How are these distributed to the individuals so they know what the rules and regulations are?
Sustain.
There wasn't even an objection, ma'am. Is this
Yes,
gonna
I
be?
did
He
make
did.
an
Yes,
objection.
you
It's he
overruled it.
made
I
an
heard you.
objection.
Let me-
Sustain.
Let me renew my
Sustain.
objection.
Sorry.
Okay?
I'm sorry.
This is-
Are we talking about violations of the rules?
We're talking about your client's violation of the rules, not Assistant Chief Salinas, not Chief Pettis, not
Excuse me,
anybody
are
else.
we
This is
gonna
not
have
a trial.
speeches? Is this just a sham or is this a real hearing? That's what I want to
Can I
know.
make my objection?
No.
You can say whatever you want.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, I'm
This
gonna
is
make
the
my
rule.
objection anyway. This is a disciplinary hearing on your client's violation of policies and procedures, 5-day suspension. It's not a time for you to burn him to the ground or Chief Pettis or anybody else. It's not a trial. He's not on trial here. And honestly, she's not on trial either. She's appealing her disciplinary suspension for 5 days. There's only two things at play here. The truth as contained in the charging instrument, and whether the disciplinary suspension is applicable or appropriate. That's it.
Question, Madam Chairman, is whether or not these rules were even provided to the individuals. How did they even know the rules? They're under a duty by the rules to read them. We want to find out if they were ever even provided. Certainly, you can see the unfairness of holding somebody to, are you listening? Evidently not. Let me ask you this. How did you guarantee, you just testified under oath and swore under oath, everybody had a copy of these. Would you be surprised to find out that most of the firefighters say they've never seen these?
Yeah.
Would you be surprised to find that out?
Objection, speculation.
They've been speculating left and right here. The rules of evidence don't apply.
Okay. Objection, you're badgering the witness.
I'm asking you, you testified under oath, did you not, that all of the individuals have a copy of this, correct? That's what you swore to under oath.
Objection, mischaracterization of the witness testimony.
I'm asking the witness what he testified.
Sustain.
Everybody should be familiar with the
I had an
rules.
Do
objection.
you
that
have a
was just
copy of it?
Sustain.
Do you have a copy of it? Do you, in your personal possession, today, have a copy of this?
Out of the new one.
No. In fact, the new one came
But
out in
you
what
only-
year? Do you even know what year it came out?
The last bargaining.
Pardon me?
It should be the last bargaining contract.
Which was the year? I just need a year, like 1998, 2016. What year? Oh,
I'm not sure on that one.
okay.
I'll tell you.
And how do the individual firefighters that are supposed to follow these rules, how do they get a copy of it? Assistant Chief.
I had the same objection, the relevance. I don't
Sus-
understand what any of these questions have to do with
How
your
can you
client's
hold somebody
discipline.
responsible for rules they
Sustained.
aren't provided?
Sustained. Let's stick to the case, which is the 5-day suspension. Let's stay with that.
Okay, well,
I don't
first of
think we
all,
have
it's
anything to do with
case.
leadership or anything like that. We need to stick to the case. Thank you.
Sticking to the case, and that she's alleged she violated these rules, correct?
What rule? Neglect of duty. That
Which,
one.
which rule?
Neglect of duty.
Neglect of duty. That's the rule you're saying that she violated?
That's the only one you will find there for pretty much closed. And you see in my report for the civil service.
Okay, go ahead. Where in your report? First of all, did you draft this or did someone draft it for you?
My
You find
report.
your under oath.
My report. No, I did it.
Which page are you looking at? I've got
I just submitted one.
Which one, sir?
I just submitted one.
Okay. Look at the June 16th, 2021 one that you went over with council.
I'm going through the June 16.
And what tab is that so everybody can follow along? Is that D1?
It's gonna be the D1.
Yes.
Excuse me, council.
It's gonna be on the Pharr Fire and Rescue Civil Service Commission Rules and Regulations, and the section I quoted was neglect of duty.
What are you talking about? You're talking about page 3?
No, I did not give you, I don't have the book. I just,
You got the
Quote,
book right there in
no.
front of you.
no, I'm talking about what I wrote from the civil service you were mentioning, and I wrote neglect of duty, number 4. And let me count the pages for you, sir. That'll be
It's the second to the
2,
last page.
3, 4, 5, 6, page 6, the bottom.
Okay, and you say that came from where?
The civil service rules.
Okay, and how did they get a copy of those civil service?
Usually through the contracts, I mean, not through the contract, I mean,
Well, as the assistant chief, how do you make sure they're aware of what the rules are? That's your obligation as the assistant chief, isn't it? Make sure they know what rules they are to follow. Leading from the top.
but it also says they need to also get familiar as well.
Sure, but they have to have them to get familiar with them, don't they? You think I could quiz you on these and you'd be good on them?
I don't think none of us will remember everything, sir.
So you don't know how they get them, huh? The chief just left. Do you think he has a copy?
I don't know if he's gonna go get a copy or not, but he may, I don't know.
Okay,
On that
so
part.
do you want to retract your original statement that all the firefighters have a copy of this? Or do you want to say that they should have a copy of this? Which is the truth? That's what we're here for.
Should have a copy.
And the one
Yeah,
that
I mean-
should make sure they get a copy is you and the chief, right? You're supposed
It
to make
should,
sure they get a copy.
it should be,
So how do you hand them out? How do you give it to them? If they're not allowed to follow your example and use personal vehicles to run errands, if they're not allowed to follow the examples of the chief, then if they're supposed to follow these rules, don't you have to give it to them?
on the SOPs, it's also listed there.
SOPs,
Yeah, our rules and regulations for the fire department.
where's that? That these?
Those will be the pages up front. That'll be page 3
Of your report?
of my report, correct?
I got page 3, you're
Let me see.
talking about March 24th.
No, I'm sorry, page 4.
Okay. Fire and rescue SOP manual policies and procedures, responsibility of personnel. Were you aware that she wasn't charged with any violation of the SOPs? And that you're supposed to be limited to what she was charged with?
I did see this one of the SOPs where it says fire and rescue policy and procedures on the responsibilities of an officer. That was listed, and all those, and the part that it was listed there that I saw clearly was X, keep the immediate supervisor informed of their activities and their locations when location when away from assigned station.
And that applies to all members, right?
To the persons that are assigned to the stations.
Well, it applies to you too, doesn't it?
When I'm gonna do something, I need to advise the chief. If I'm gonna be out, I had to advise the chief.
And every time you've gone somewhere to go to lunch or go to the bathroom or whatever, you call the chief and let him know, correct?
The lunch is very different. They're
What
on
does it
the,
say in this SOP lunch is different? Where does it say that?
we're 8 to 5, sir.
What does it say?
And they're 24 hours.
Where does it say there's a difference between 24 hours and 8 hours? Where does it say that?
That, I haven't seen that part.
Well, if it applies to everybody, then doesn't it?
Station personnel very different. You're assigned to a certain district.
Show me in the rules where it says station personnel are different from you.
but I'm not talking about the lunch, but you're assigned to a district and you are told to advise your immediate supervisor. Also, in the section that you put in, and it's going back to SOPs on 100.33, it also advised, and I cannot give you word for word, that you're supposed to advise your superior officer, and you're supposed to advise your superior officer of your activities, and if you're away from the station.
And you've never done that, right?
Objection, Holden.
Well, does it
I'm not
say-
assigned to the
Does it
station,
say
sir.
the SOPs don't apply to you? Where does it say that?
I'm talking about when you're assigned to a station. If you're assigned to a station, also in the SOPs on 100.38, it tells you about response time. And on 100.40 on the SOPs, it tells you the 5 reasons if you're assigned to a station that you could leave a station. One would be a call. The other one would be if you're called in for training. The other one, if you got permission from the fire chief or your immediate supervisor. The other one, if you're gonna pick up supplies, and the other one, if you're gonna be fueling up. We're talking about shift personnel.
Yeah, I'm talking about the actual rules that she was cited to have violated, which includes an officer. Are you an officer, sir?
I'm an officer.
Officers shall keep the immediate supervisor informed of their activities and their location when away from their assigned duties. That doesn't say, it doesn't apply to you, does it?
It applies if I'm gonna do something else, but we are giving a lunch hour.
It doesn't say that, does it? Are we following the rules or not?
Then
Like, for example, when you decided to go over and chit chat with these people for an hour, did you get permission to do that?
Objection,
chit
Holden.
chat was who?
Right here, I'm going by your statement. On the 24th, what were you doing?
He's
On the-
sustained,
Are there
sustained the
On the
objection.
24th, I was going to
Hold
go.
on, hold on, stop talking.
On
Are there
March
any-
24th.
I have
Hold
an
on,
objection.
hold on, gentlemen.
This is just so much.
Gentlemen, hold on,
Okay.
hold on. We have witnesses here that are here of their own free will, okay? Please stop badgering or embarrassing the witnesses. Stay with the case in hand, please, okay? We are here only to hear about the 5-day suspension and not whether they have the book or not, or whether it's his duty or anything else, okay? We're
And
here to hear
also-
about the
And also,
5-day
please
suspension.
be more respectful to us. We're not here to go against you. We're here to listen to the evidence.
Well, I'm trying
So
to,
when you refer to her or to me, refer to us with the same respect as you refer to your client, okay?
I would be happy to.
Thank
If I
you.
could- I would
Please,
ask for the same respect, to be not shut up, cut off, and not be able to defend this woman who has been wrongfully charged, and ask
We
to
have-
be able to
we
present
will
the evidence.
hear
but- excuse
everything.
me, you cut me off.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
thank you.
I ask for
Thank you.
reciprocal respect, and I'm not giving it. If I may be heard, first of all, the rules clearly provide, we shouldn't even be going into this stuff. But even so, I asked him specifically about March 24th, which is one of the many ones that they've accused her of. And then you said, we'll stick to the things. That's exactly what I was talking about.
You may.
Thank you. Going back to where you went on March 24th, you said, quote, I stopped by Fire Station 1 to drop off the notices for the retest for the engineer, correct?
Correct.
Did you get permission from the chief to do that? Did you call him and tell him?
It was already on my way home, the chief knew that I had to go by Station 1, drop off the notice for the testing for the upcoming engineer exam that needed to be given, I believe, again.
Is
That
the
time.
answer no, you didn't get permission?
I thought we already cleared this up. I thought these questions.
It
were
was
gonna
business.
stop. I thought these questions were gonna stop as far as what he did
Yes.
and whether he's not on trial.
He's
I
not
don't know
one
how
on
many
trial.
times this is gonna be sustained and you keep asking the same question.
I'm going to,
I'll try to explain, Madam Chairman. He said that.
You've noted everything. We get your argument, right? He's doing something else. Great, that's your argument. We're not here for that. We're here to determine whether or not she did what's being alleged. That's it.
Again, for the court reporter, I would appreciate if you could quit cutting me off in the middle of it. At least get a clear record.
Sir, I'm allowed to make an objection. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm sorry.
Any other questions for the witness?
Addressing the Madam Chairman.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, you need to speak louder. Thank you.
Sure, I'll be happy to. What I was saying was he had said that leadership, one of the reasons they felt that a 5-day suspension was appropriate for my client was because she was a lieutenant and leadership leadership is important. I asked him about leadership, and it comes from the top. They lead by example. When you do not have copies of the rules that you know what to follow, you follow the leader's rules, and that's why it's all very pertinent.
This is clear,
Okay.
but we're still waiting for you to get to the crux of the case. So you're making an argument. I can see that. I'm just waiting for you to get to what we're here for. That is to discuss the evidence. Good. This is part of the evidence. Yes, but it's not the evidence. I mean, this is what you're badgering them. You're asking questions. We see the line of questions.
I know you like usually people to just roll over and then you can rubber stamp this, but we're not going to do that. We're going to take this and we're
I
going to.
certainly hope so, but I'd like you to get to the evidence.
We are, sir. The evidence is, these are a situation where you have people that aren't given the rules, so they don't know what to follow. So then they follow the example.
Can
And
we-
the example is what the chief and the assistant chief are doing. That's what's pertinent.
Can we move on to the other questions that you may have? Thank you.
At any rate, even noting all the violations you had down here, well, first of all, how do you know Lieutenant?
How do I know the lieutenant? I know she's been here about 13 years. She went up the ranks. We are very proud of her, and we do expect her to continue going forward. She's a very bright young lady. So,
Well, in fact, even after all of this stuff that you came up with, which you would agree a lot of it you didn't see yourself, you just heard from other people, correct?
I got to witness three occasions.
Right, but
Okay.
only two that would actually be relevant within the last 180 days,
And-
correct?
Correct.
Okay, and even listing all of the ones you saw or heard about, you recommended a 3-day suspension, correct?
Correct.
Yet he gave a 5-day, didn't
He gave 5 days because they fall under calendar days, basically. And for us, it's only a recommendation. It's still up to the
he?
chief. I
Question was just,
cannot.
I recommend a 3-shift day suspension.
Correct.
That's what you recommended, correct?
Correct.
All right.
And-
Have you known her to be a good, hardworking individual?
Yes,
Have you known her to be competent?
yes, we don't have no problem with her out in the field.
Okay. Have you known Lieutenant Garrett to be honest?
I say yes.
Okay. Now let's go to the ones that you talked about with the attorney. You said that on November 11th of 2020, on a Veterans Day firework display, the whole crew was out there. Is it not important to have a fire crew out there when the fireworks are being done?
Yes, but we had Station 1, and that was their station that where the firework display was held. Station 1 was already present, and that was in their district, not in District 2. She was from District 2.
And had it ever been done before, just as a pattern in practice? Because pattern in practice is relevant for this man on his own. Pattern in practice to other engines to come and watch the fireworks over the years? Has that been a pattern in practice?
I have not witnessed that, or I'm usually in the area with the pyrotechs, so I'm away from all that.
Now, on January 11th, and again, we agree that the November one is outside the 180 days, and so there shouldn't be any discipline for that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, the January 11th, which is also outside the 180 days, there shouldn't be any discipline one. You said that he called to see if Jacob Salinas called to see if you could meet at fire station number 2 so he could turn in his gear, correct?
It will be Silva, Raymond Silva
I'm
will
sorry, my apologies.
call me.
Fire Chief Jacob Salinas.
Raymond Silva called me
Oh, yes.
to see if he could meet
Right.
at Station 2.
Okay, and you told Station 2, where his lieutenant was stationed at the time, correct?
Correct.
Lieutenant Garrett, you told her to do what?
To go 10-8, in other words, because Mr. Silva was going to come in. And so to a safe face, so he won't be embarrassed at the time that he was dropping off his
Where's
equipment.
that in the rules that you can save face and tell a unit that's there, ready at the fire station, ready to go 1080? So that
That's
he
1080.
will save face. Where is that anywhere in the rules?
It's not in the
So
rules.
you violated the rules.
And I didn't violate. They were told to stay in their district. There's a district, not only the station.
You know that other people heard you tell them to just get lost.
Those are not my words. I don't use those words,
And-
not even with the firefighters.
And
I'll tell you that.
I'm sorry.
I don't use those words.
And you always use the 1080 codes and things like that.
10-8 are from my time pretty much.
And does any of the current ones use those? Any of the current
We-
firefighters even know what that means?
We don't use that no more.
Okay, so then would you expect a firefighter to know what 1080 means?
10-8.
I'm sorry?
10/8,
10/8.
10/8,
I'm just
be in
asking.
service.
Clarify.
I appreciate
Thank you.
Yeah.
it.
10/8.
But again, I just want to get it from the witness. At any rate, so did you tell her what 10/8 meant?
No, she mentioned to get lost and that was it. I did not mention that,
So-
to
so
get
she
lost.
said to get lost, and you said yes?
I may have said yes, but that was
Okay.
it.
And again, then you said you found out that she was somewhere else after you told her to get lost, correct?
Somewhere else. No, I had some, paper.
Mischaracterization of the witness's testimony. It was testified.
Go ahead.
No,
Just tell us what
hold
you're
on,
doing.
I'm not,
Tell us what you're
I'm not done. It's a
Hold on.
mischaracterization of the witness's testimony because he just told me. Excuse me, 10/8.
Okay, let's get this clear for the council who doesn't seem to understand. You told her 10/8, and she said, get lost, and you said, yeah, right?
That I could recall, yes.
Okay. So when basically her understanding is she was supposed to get lost, you later saw her where?
At Station 1, District 1,
Okay.
because I had I had to go take a paper to get signed that day by one of the firefighters.
And we won't ask if you got permission because you didn't, did you?
I don't need,
He's not on.
And so let me ask you this then. When you saw her there, what you say?
what did I say? She asked me how everything went. I said, it went well, ma'am. I need you and your crew from Station 2 to go back to the station.
And she did, didn't
She did, that was it.
she? Okay. So why is that being rid of? Why is she being punished for that? When you told her to get lost, and instead of going to Hardee's or a grocery store or something, she took her crew to basic 1, and she was at 2 at the time, right?
Where I met Mr. Silva, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so she was at 2.
At
so
this
she took-
time, excuse me for interrupting.
Yes,
At
ma'am.
this time, being that our commissioner has just come in, we're going to take a short recess and we'll be back. We'll continue with the deliberation. Are there any other questions for the witness?
Yes, did you say you'll continue with the deliberation?
What we were hearing?
Evidence.
Sir, you know,
Okay. No,
I am not familiar with the technical.
being taken down and under, taken
Exactly,
down and-
but we're not judges, so, yes, evidence.
If I could be allowed to talk without being interrupted, ma'am, and would be, just for the courtesy for the court, excuse me, just for the courtesy of the court reporter, because it's really hard for her to get more than one person talking down at the same time, okay?
I understand, and that's actually been happening a lot, so I'm gonna ask that you allow the witness to continue with his answers before you interrupt.
And you are who?
I'm Ms. Reagan.
Okay. And as city attorney, are you representing him?
Let's
Sir,
just stay with,
stay-
let's just
let's-
stay with it.
Sir,
I'm
would you
gonna say
direct
this
your
real quick.
questions to the
Right,
witness?
let's
and
let's do that.
leave
We'll,
this to
we'll
us,
stop the
okay?
questioning.
You do that, go ahead.
Yeah.
Are you stopping it?
I'm telling you, we will stop. If you continue, you want to go ahead and this is what you can take.
Well, I think everybody can see exactly what's going on, so
Yes,
let's just go
everyone
ahead.
can see it, so go ahead. sir.
Thank you. And I just wanted to make sure, since it is being recorded, Madam Chair.
Yes.
And what is this?
Excuse
if
me,
you speak?
Thank you.
everybody's interrupting me again.
Oh, I'm sorry, because you don't do that. Now, what is this if you're speaking of?
I speak now?
Oh, no, hold on.
Everybody seeing this?
No, you said this. No, come
Yes,
on.
what I'm trying to
Go
say
ahead.
is, because this is being recorded and we have a record, it's important to know that you weren't deliberating, that it was evidence. So I was just trying to clarify that and giving you a chance to clarify
You're
that. It
very
wasn't,
kind,
cer-
sir.
excuse me, you're interrupting
Yes,
yet
I
again.
am. Can you still please continue?
Okay, I apologize for these people.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you had a chance to talk to the attorneys during the break?
I really went more to take a restroom
Okay,
break.
and did you talk to the attorneys during the break?
Objection, relevance, and privilege.
Sustain.
Okay, let me ask you this. After talking to the attorneys during the break, do you have any testimony that you want to change? Any of your
We-
sworn testimony under oath that you need to modify at this point?
No,
Okay, let's go back then. We were talking about the ones that you had discussed. You said November 11th, which she can't be disciplined for.
correct.
January 11th, which she can't be disciplined for. We were on January, did you talk about January 13th of 2021?
13 was a meeting between Deputy Chief Renta. Okay, we're talking about January 13th, right?
Okay, that's outside the 180 days. too.
Yeah, no, this was just a discussion.
Okay,
Uh,
let's just go on to the next one, if that's
Okay.
okay. March 24th, that was the one where you said that you noticed her, that she was assigned to Station 3, but she had come and turned in a rebuttal, correct?
Correct.
Did she have to get permission to come and turn in the rebuttal?
I don't know if she had made contact with the chief or not. I don't know more detail about that.
Okay, so then she would have had permission to be up here to turn in the rebuttal, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and then you said that you saw her at, it was at Fire Station number 1?
correct.
And on that date, did you tell her, what are you doing here?
No, I didn't tell her anything. I just went inside with Lieutenant Baker. We discussed other matters. Nothing was Lieutenant. Yeah.
You're also under an obligation to correct conduct that you feel is inappropriate, correct?
What I did was contact her supervisor later on, because maybe I was there thinking maybe she did get permission from immediate supervisor. And
I
that was it.
appreciate that, but my question was, you're under an obligation by the rules to correct bad behavior,
Well,
correct?
I wasn't sure if she had got permission, so that's why I didn't question.
Sure, but my question was, you're under an obligation to correct bad behavior, is that true?
It's true.
Okay, and you could have said, hey, did you have permission to be up here, and ask her, right?
I didn't ask her
Okay.
because,
And so at that time, you didn't even tell her there was anything, right?
no, I contacted her supervisor afterwards.
And then, and the supervisor was who?
Deputy Chief Carlos Arispe.
Okay, and he told you that she didn't have permission to go return it?
didn't have
Excuse me, let me
permission.
finish the question. She didn't have permission to turn in the rebuttal?
No, the rebuttal was turned in at Central. She didn't have permission to be at Station 1.
Okay, but she was already out of Station 3 area, correct?
He was out 2 districts out.
Okay, you know what time of the day it was? Was it lunchtime?
Did I got to see her?
Yes, sir.
It was already about 5 o'clock.
Okay. And so you didn't make any corrections to her then? And basically, based upon all of your allegations that you had found in all the history that you found, you recommended 3-day suspension, correct?
Yes, but there was another incident that happened. I don't have it here, and I was not involved. I guess you'll be asking a different individual for that, which is the June 4th incident.
June 4th incident, okay. What do you, I heard some information, if you've read some of this, about June 4th, that the Station 3 said they didn't get the call. Do you remember hearing that they didn't get the radio? Didn't get the radio traffic?
Yes, they didn't hear the traffic because their base radio may have been turned off, or they were having some kind of problems.
Well,
Well,
you
that's
heard
all.
that they'd had those problems before, correct?
I cannot say that. I'm not sure about
But
that one.
what, did you do anything to try to find out why they didn't get the call?
I think that I don't have that answer. I believe it was addressed possibly by Chief Arispe and Perez. So I don't have that answer. I can't give you that
And
one.
just so these people on the council know, you don't have any personal knowledge of that situation at all, correct?
I'm not sure on that. I'm gonna be
Okay, and
honest.
with
But
respect to whether or not she had permission to be where she was on January 11th, that's just based upon what somebody else told you, correct?
January the 11th, she
I'm
did.
sorry, not January 11th, but the January, was it the 13th?
The 13th, that's a discussion. That was not her.
Okay, so this would be the June one then. Okay,
June was an actual call.
yeah, and
that
that's one
occurred.
where you don't have any personal
No.
knowledge of it.
No, I have knowledge that she didn't have permission to be at Station 1 when that incident happened. There was an accident that happened in her district, and she was out of her area. And Deputy Chief Arispe had no knowledge. The only way they found out, because their station never acknowledged that they were going to respond to the call there on 281 and Juan Bailly, the major accident.
Due to the limitations that you put on me as to the other questions, that's all I have at this time.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Go on.
If I may, can I redirect witness?
Yes. Proceed.
Morning.
Sir.
Thank you for being here.
That was already asked 33 years. We trying to cut time.
If you're gonna testify.
No, he testified previously. Excuse me, he
We're
testified.
gonna let him go ahead, he had your.
Is that, but is it an objection?
Yes, objection, ask and answer.
Well, let's go ahead and make sure that we're listening to what he said.
I want to identify.
Thank you.
February 6, 1989 is when I started.
Assistant Chief, this is gonna sound really obvious. Salinas, you're not fire chief.
Correct.
So you do not order discipline.
Correct.
Okay, so this statement here that we've all possibly need to finder, this is a statement regarding your reflections, your observations, and
Objection leading.
okay. But is this letter a notice and order of discipline?
Objection leading.
It's a recommendation.
I'm sorry. What?
Well, because he objected.
You're absolutely right. I apologize. Again, you already testified, just to make sure, you already testified that you can't give order of discipline.
No, not to finalize it, no.
Okay, I got some basic questions for you. So there's a lot of stuff that's been talked about. I think there's a lot of mismatching of dates regarding March 24th, or March 24th. Miss Lieutenant Guerra away from her station.
Yes, when only when she came to drop off the letter, that might have been the only time, but not to be at Station 1, because I did make contact with her immediate supervisor she was at Station 1, and he said that he wasn't aware of her action, and he did not give any permission.
Right, and I just want to clarify this. I'm not talking to you about the rebuttal letter. It's not in the charging statement, anything like that. Regarding her being at station, testified that you saw her. Did you have permission to do that?
No,
Regarding your testimony, when we talked about January 11th, which we all know she's not being charged with, okay, we understand that. Testified that you saw her away from her district on January 11th.
correct.
Okay. And at that time, did she have permission to be away?
At Station 1, no.
Also mentioned, and again, for clarity, we all know she wasn't charged with the Veterans Day issue. However, did you witness her being away from her assigned station about Veterans Day 2020?
Yes.
Okay. Did she have permission?
Oh, after speaking to the supervisor, no, she had no permission.
You also testified a little bit regarding your understanding, although maybe. What is your understanding regarding whether or not she had permission to be away from her assigned station?
She had no permission from her immediate supervisor.
Just one real quick follow-up. Did you say you're assistant chief, not assistant fire chief, correct?
Assistant Fire Chief.
Okay, because I maybe misunderstood. So you are assistant fire chief, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you have a duty by everybody else, if you see something that's wrong, to try to correct the firemen underneath you and to help them to follow the rules, correct?
Correct.
On any of these occasions, did you ever correct her, Lieutenant Guerra?
On January the 11th, I did tell her to go back to her station, and that was,
And I believe you testified to that previously, but did you correct her and say, you know, you're not supposed to be outside your area? That's not allowed by the sections, or just say that's not allowed? Do you have permission? All you did was tell her to go back to her area, correct?
yes,
And previously, you told her to basically, give me the numbers again, 10, 8,
10-8,
10, 8, and she said, you mean get lost? And you said yes, right?
possibly yes.
Okay. And so, and then when you saw her again, you said, okay, now go back.
No, I called her that we already finished business with Mr. Silva, and I don't know where her whereabouts are in that district, which is District 2. So I informed her, we finished, and that's pretty much letting her know, hey, you can come back to your station. And that was it.
Okay. And then when you saw her, you told her you need to go back to the station.
She was out of her district, and she was out of her station as well.
But you told her to go out of her station.
Yes, go out of her station, but not her district. We got 4 districts. It's broken up. It's broken up to protect the people and the businesses, and where we are able to meet most of the response time within 5 minutes. But that lieutenant is assigned to that district and should be there protecting that district if anything occurs.
That wasn't my question. I apologize if I was inartfully asked. My question was merely this: When you did see her, did you just told her to go back?
I told her to go back in her engine company.
Okay.
And
Didn't-
that
you
was
didn't
it.
say-
I have a question, I'm sorry, I'm just to clarify.
Go ahead.
Because her as a lieutenant, she understands what sector she needs to be.
Correct.
When it, basically, you're gonna have a break, you're gonna stay within your sector. I mean, as a lieutenant, how long you've been a lieutenant, but you have to stay in your sector.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I'm learning. Thank you.
Did you tell her when you told her 10-8, did you say stay in your sector?
It's meaning stay in your district.
Right, but did you tell her that? Did you tell her,
She should automatically know that part.
I understand that, but when you told her get lost, did you tell
I
her?
did not mention get lost.
No, she said get lost and you said yes. You didn't
Okay.
say.
Objection,
I
ask and
just-
answer, sorry.
I think we just need to stop, already clarified, for my information, she was to remain, and she understands she's to remain in her sector. So I think we need to stop that question.
Let the record reflect, I've been stopped. Go ahead, next witness.
I'm sorry, you finished?
I was stopped. I don't know if you heard that.
Okay. I'll pass.
You can ask other questions. I want to make sure that you're stopping on that particular point, but I already clarified it for you. You understand that, sir?
I had already clarified it and you went back and reclarified, so I was trying to clarify it again.
You
And
have another
excuse me, we're
question,
talking
sir.
over each other again. I'll stop.
Yes, you have another question.
I had a lot of other questions that you stopped me, so I'm stopped.
I stopped you on that question. You kept on. I clarified for the record that she as a lieutenant understands her responsibility to stay in her sector.
And what do you base the fact that, and I would ask a leading question to you, did she have a knowledge that she did? How do you know what her knowledge was? Most counsel would have objected that as calling for speculation, but how do you know she had it? Did you tell her stay within your district?
She would have knowledge what her district is. The district is broken up into 4 sections. She's responsible for that area. So that's automatic. And that's also part of your rules and regulations, responsibilities as an officer. And then if you go to the SOPs, the Pharr Fire Department SOPs, and 1038 and 1040, it does tell you as well about the taking care of your district.
Right, and anywhere in there, does it talk about telling people to quote, get lost?
I never used get lost.
Objection, asked and
Sorry, I told you.
answered,
That
and
wasn't the question.
mischaracterization of the testimony.
Let's just
Just
stay.
stay.
Let's go ahead.
Stopping me again?
No, I said, go ahead.
I'm asking
Am I
that question.
clarifying that, sir?
So you're stopping me from asking that question?
I said, go ahead. You understand
Okay.
English?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
First
Go
language.
ahead.
Okay, so, and when she said, get lost, and you said yes, you could understand how she would think that meant to get lost, correct?
Stop badgering it. Let's just go on to another question, sir.
So you're stopping me?
You need to stop badgering that tape. You need to go to other questions. You're going to the same question. You know, does the lieutenant not understand that she should have been in her sector? Is that what you're trying to clarify?
No, what I'm trying to clarify, and let me address it to the witness instead of the council member. With respect to the rules, the standard operating procedure, anything, where does it say you can tell somebody to leave so that somebody else can save face? Where does it
Save face.
authorize that?
Safe phase is just so that individual that we let go won't be embarrassed. Some of those workers were possibly his co-workers as well, and that was it.
I understand that. Where does it authorize you to tell them to leave the station? Because you said these are situated so they'll be in 5 minutes away. Where, anywhere? Because, excuse me,
Go
I
ahead,
take it
John.
these are kind of centralized in the area?
Yes, sir. Oh, well, not centralized. We need to adjust station 1 and 2, and those are plans in the future. But the city is broken up. We do have a map laying out District 2, where she was a lieutenant at that time, and her boundaries, her limits are there. And it's not in my notes here. We have it broken down in the map.
I understand it, but my question was, where does it say that you are authorized to tell her to leave her assigned station to take a 10-8 or whatever, when, just to save somebody's face? Where does it authorize that?
And it should be embarrassment. That's all it is. But
Where does it
Yeah,
say
I
you
could-
can move these vehicles, use the gas and everything to move them and run around to save somebody embarrassment? Where does it authorize that?
it does say that this vehicle is supposed to stay in a certain location. If you go to on the SOPs on 100.
Can we go back to going into some other area? Right now, 10-8 means you're in service in the air. That, to understanding of any lieutenant, anybody that understands the fire service, that you are staying, they're active on the air, in your area, and who you're responsible for.
And if you want to get sworn in and testify, but that's not what he said. In fact, what he said,
Well,
council
I'm
member,
clarifying,
is
and
that 10-8 isn't
you're
used
going
anymore.
back to- We're not putting him under here. All we're doing is trying to get to a point. It seems like we're going in circles. We'll stop.
Feel free. Feel free. If you don't want a fair hearing, he already said 10-8 was not used anymore, and most lieutenants don't even know what that means. And you just testified without being under oath that
Right now-
10-8, excuse me.
Right now, what we're doing is we're just trying to make sure that we're getting through this process.
Okay, not trying to get justice, we're just trying to get through the
No,
process.
Well,
Gotcha.
yeah, we're
Understood.
trying to get to justice and what we're here. You know what, we're just trying to make sure that we're being heard, and you're not going back to the same thing over and over again. You're going back, and this is what we're concerned about, of the issue. You're concerned about what he says, or how he feels, or how he says things. That has nothing to do with the actual action, that her responsibility was to stay in her sector. And 10-8 means stay in your sector.
I think we established, did we not, that most of the lieutenants don't use the 10 codes anymore, correct?
We don't use the 10 codes.
And did you say most lieutenants wouldn't know what 10-8 meant?
Some would not. I didn't say most. Some would not, but yes.
Okay, and in fact, when she said, does that mean get lost? You said, you probably said yes. Okay. Nothing was said at that time about stay in your district, correct?
Objection.
Just a simple question, was something said about staying in your district?
Objection, asked and answered. He's
Wasn't
already
even an
answered
objection
this
yet
about
before you
15.
sustained it. He said object. and
You know, sir,
sustained it.
I've let you talk a lot. I'm going to make an objection for the record, hopefully without being talked over. This is getting really painful. You're badgering the witness. He has a stellar career with the department. He's been here for 33 years. As you yourself know, he's not on trial. And this is getting very uncomfortable, I think, for everybody. And he's already answered this question about 15 times. I'm just asking if you can move on.
Specifically, did you tell her to stay within the district, yes or no?
But she's already,
Understood.
so you stay to it. You don't go out.
Sure, and you were given her permission to go away from the station, correct?
Away from,
Gotcha, thank you. That's
only
all.
from the station.
Other than the other limitations I've had on the questions I wanted to ask, then we'll pass the witness.
Out of the district meaning,
There's no question.
okay.
You know, under normal circumstances, I'd really like to redirect, but I feel like this badgering is out of control, and I'm even hesitant to call other witnesses because of this type of treatment. So I would like to ask, if possible, if the commission could help us, keep these questions at least somewhat amicable, so we're not sitting here like this is some type of divorce proceeding or something, because it's not. But again, I'll defer to the commission. If y'all don't have any questions for Assistant Chief Salinas, I think I'm going to go ahead and ask him to step down.
Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, can I call my next witness? Okay. All right, city calls Chief Leonardo Perez. Let me make sure I get this microphone for you here. Okay, it's already on.
Yes.
Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. Good morning, sir. Can you please state your name for the record?
Leonardo Perez.
Okay. And have you recently retired as the fire chief for the city of Pharr?
Effective July 23rd.
Prior to retiring, how long had you been the fire chief of the city of Pharr?
Far since November 2nd.
Okay, prior to being the fire chief at the city of Pharr, had you worked as a fire chief anywhere else?
The city of
For how long? How many years total have you been a firefighter? Chief Bettis, were you the fire chief for the city of Pharr at the time that Lieutenant Guerra was given this 5-day discipline?
Yes, sir.
And were you the one who disciplined Lieutenant Guerra?
Correct.
And were you the fire chief at all times relevant to the incidents which have been discussed in this hearing and also described in the notice and order of discipline?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like for you to turn to the folder right now. Go ahead and turn to City's Exhibit B, please.
B?
B as in Bravo.
Yes.
Okay. What is this document?
It's a
Requirement by typical government code that I'm supposed to give notice of possible violations.
Okay. And was this document given to Lieutenant Guerra?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And for purposes of clarity, is this the document that actually disciplines her?
No, sir.
Okay. So again, you stated this is a requirement, correct?
Yes, sir.
At the time of issuing the 614 notice, which is this document, had you already made up your mind regarding whether or not to discipline Lieutenant Guerra? Okay. Okay, please go to Exhibit C of the city's folder. Okay. What is this document?
It's a pre-disciplinary hearing that
Lieutenant Guerra.
factual grounds of what I'm looking
Into. And the
possible violations.
Okay. And at this particular point in time, had you already made up your mind whether or not to discipline Lieutenant Guerra?
Not yet.
Now, can you go ahead and go to the last page of this document?
yes, sir.
You see at the bottom there where it says bold and underlined says pre-disciplinary hearing? Okay. Now, according to this, it says that this document scheduled a type of, it's called due process hearing with Lieutenant Guerra.
Correct.
Did that take place?
Yes, sir, he did.
Did Lieutenant Guerra show up to the pre-disciplinary hearing, and was she given an opportunity to be heard, provide a statement as to the factual grounds of the contemplated discipline?
She did.
Chief, you've heard, I mean, you've been sitting here during testimony given today. You did hear the testimony that Assistant Chief Salinas gave?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Did you agree with the testimony that he gave here today?
Yes, in regards to which part, sir?
Objection. It's improper for one witness to testify as to what another witness did if he doesn't have personal knowledge.
That actually seems illogical, seeing as he's sitting right here and he heard what he
Personal
said.
knowledge of the things that, hey, how can he agree with things he wasn't even privy to?
Well, he just heard him testify. That's all I'm asking.
Do you agree with him? Well, it's
I
improper.
appreciate it. Your objection's noted. Thank you.
Want to rule on it?
Okay.
too?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Overruled.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, and have you also been following along with the exhibits as they've come up here during
Yes,
this
sir.
hearing so far? Now, I'd like to ask you about the pre-disciplinary hearing itself that took place. Okay?
Yeah, I did. Okay,
All right. At that hearing, you were present, is that right?
correct.
Lieutenant Guerra was also there.
Yes,
Regarding the January 11th incident that was discussed earlier, just for, again, purposes of clarity, did you discipline Crystal Guerra for the January 11th incident?
no, sir, I took that as to show a progression of continuing to violate the rule, basically.
Okay. Now, regarding this January 11th incident, did Lieutenant Guerra admit that she was in fact at another station?
Yes, sir, she did.
Regarding this January 11th incident, did Lieutenant Guerra at the pre-disciplinary hearing ever show you proof or even state that she had permission or authority to be at another station on January 11th?
No, sir.
Did Lieutenant Guerra have permission to be at another station on January 11th?
According to the Assistant Chief Salinas, no.
And again, I understand that some people understand the rank structure real well. If it just indulge me just really quickly. So it's my understanding that there are 4 fire stations in the city of Pharr.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Each fire station has a lieutenant that's essentially the highest level of that station.
Objection leading, this was already cumulative as well. It's already covered by the other witness.
I'm sorry, you're right, I was leading. I was trying to get us through this really quickly, but if you want, I can ask open-ended questions.
The objection
Whatever
was
you want.
also, excuse me, I think,
How many fire stations are there?
4.
objection cumulative. We've already covered this. The other witness talked about all 4 and the locations and everything.
Okay, I'm not talking about the locations. I'm just trying to build a rank structure, if that's okay. Thank you. Concerning these 4 fire stations, what rank is the highest rank at the station?
Lieutenants.
Is the lieutenant of that station assigned to that specific station?
Yes, they are.
Meaning, is that lieutenant have to stay at that station? If that lieutenant is assigned at the station, are they expected to stay at that station?
If they're assigned to a station for that day, they're supposed to stay at that station, yes.
Okay. And again, for purposes of clarity, the next highest rank up would be what?
Deputy Chief Suppression.
Right. Because there are different deputy chief ranks. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So the deputy chief of suppression, is that rank tied to a specific station?
Deputy Chief of Suppression would be over those 4 stations.
Okay. So that person is not tied to a specific station?
No, sir, it's not.
And what would be the next rank above that deputy chief of suppression?
Assistant Chief,
How many assistant chiefs are there in the city of Pharr?
1.
And that is,
Jacob Salinas
okay. And the person above him?
would be, at that time, would be me.
Okay. Again, going back to the preliminary hearing that was held where Lieutenant Guerra was there regarding the March 24th, 2021 incident.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
March 24th. Where Assistant Chief Salinas testified that he saw Lieutenant Guerra away from her district at another station. Did Lieutenant Guerra admit at that hearing that she was in fact at another station?
Yes, she did admit it.
At the preliminary hearing, did Lieutenant Guerra ever show proof or even state that she had permission or authority to be at another station on March 24th?
No, sir.
Did Lieutenant Guerra have permission or authority to be at another station on March 24th?
No, sir. Other than administration, because she was bringing the rebuttal letter.
Regarding the June 4th, 2021 incident, I'd like to discuss this with you now at this point. Can you turn to Exhibit D, please?
D?
D as in?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, dog. Okay. On the first page, it says factual grounds of the proposed disciplinary action. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Number 4. This is the description that you gave regarding June 4th, 2021. It says here that a motor vehicle accident was dispatched and due to errors on the radio, your station never acknowledged or responded to the moving vehicle accident, and Rescue 2 responded in District 3. Okay, what happened in this incident?
That was a motor vehicle accident, I believe, on Cage and Bailly. Normal response would be the district that particular, the station that particular district belongs to would respond, and the rescue truck would be responding code 1 from station 2.
Okay. Regarding the June 4th, 2021 incident, did Lieutenant Guerra admit that she did in fact leave her station to conduct personal business?
Yes, sir.
You recall what personal business she was conducting on that day?
I believe she went to go pick up a personal vehicle.
Did Lieutenant Guerra also do anything else? Did she go to another station? before picking up
She went to station 1, picked up a firefighter, according to statements, and then went and picked up their vehicle and the fire from that station and finished what she needed to do.
Okay. So on June 4th, 2021, are you saying that Lieutenant Guerra left her station at 3, went to station 1 and picked up another firefighter from a different station?
Correct.
And she did this under what your understanding is to do what?
To go pick up her personal vehicle from the shop.
Okay. Okay, regarding this June 4th, 2021 incident, while away from her station conducting this personal business, did she in fact admit that she went to Station 1 and picked up a firefighter?
She did.
Regarding this June 4th, 2021 incident, did Lieutenant Guerra ever show proof or even state that she had permission or authority to be at Station 1?
No, sir.
Can you please, in your binder, you're going to find a section with tabs that says D1. It goes all the way from D1 to D7. You
Yes,
see
sir.
those?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you take a minute, please, and flip through these documents and just, you don't have to read them all the way through. I just want you to just kind of familiarize yourself with these documents.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you seen these documents before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were these documents a part of your notice and order of discipline?
It was.
Were these documents given to Lieutenant Guerra when she also got the notice and order of discipline?
Yes, sir.
Turn back to Exhibit D, please.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and turn to the second page of your notice and order and discipline. Okay, and again, for purposes of clarity, is this document we're looking at, Exhibit D, the official charging document, which charged Lieutenant Guerra with 5 days of discipline?
Correct.
Leading.
How was that leading?
Is this document, you could say, what is this document? It's not leading. Is this document, this is leading?
Oh, okay, thank you, counsel. What is this document?
This document is the notice and order of disciplinary suspension of 5 days and notice of appellate rights.
Okay, is this the official charging document for Lieutenant Guerra?
This was the attachments
Yes, sir, thank you.
and the attachments.
Okay, you go back to the second page, please. There's a section that says rules violation, or excuse me, rules violations implicated by your conduct. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this first one, it says under City of Pharr, Texas Firefighter and Police Officer Civil Service Commission rules and regulations. And there's a section 7 there, performance and conduct. So how did Lieutenant Guerra violate this particular section?
Say again?
Sure. Do you see the, under rules violation implicated by your conduct, there are specific references to certain rules. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the first bolded one says City of Pharr, Texas Firefighter and Police Officer.
Correct.
Okay, you see that?
Yes,
And
sir.
then underneath that says Section 7, performance and conduct.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then there's a list of some numbers and some different types of rules.
Correct.
Okay, how did Lieutenant Guerra violate these rules?
She was not available or made herself available or advised her supervisor where she was at, thereby causing confusion of her location.
Okay. And then also looking at these rules 27 to 32, would that also fit into those rules?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next one here says Pharr Fire Rescue Policies and Procedures, Rules and Regulations. Do you see that at the bottom of the page?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you can turn to the next page, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's a bunch of rules here, and I don't want to bore everybody to death with this, but can you, if we can, for purposes of this hearing, focus on letter X there. Can you read that aloud?
Keep immediate supervisor informed of their activities and their location when away from their assigned stations.
Yeah, that seems pretty clear. Is that applicable to this particular case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how is that applicable?
Lieutenant Guerra was assigned to station number 3. So she needed to keep her immediate supervisor informed.
Okay, and on March 24th, 2021, did she do that?
No, sir.
On June 4th, 2021, did she do that?
No, sir.
Let's go down. This next one says MP 100.15. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
What's the heading of that one?
Knowledge of rules.
Can you go ahead and read that out loud?
The members of the department shall read and become familiar with all rules and regulations relating to the department including any updated or amended policies. No plea of ignorance of the rules and regulations will be accepted as an excuse for any violation of such.
Okay, what does that mean to you with regards to this case?
That it behooves them to learn and understand what is expected of them according to the rules and regulations.
Okay, and just moving off of this, just as a side question, the officers that are assigned to these stations, they're there for what kind of shifts?
Our shift is a little bit different than the norm. Ours run 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 4 days off.
4 days off?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, is staying at a station during that 24-hour period, if you've been assigned to that, is that just kind of like also common knowledge that you're supposed to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that something that you expect a firefighter to know, to be able to do, whether they're a rookie or a lieutenant?
Yes, sir.
And to leave the station, what would you need to do in order to leave the station?
Ask permission.
Okay, let's jump to MP 100.33.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what does that section say?
Maintaining communications.
Oh, I'm sorry, the one right before that, 100.33, remaining on duty until properly relieved.
Okay. Oh, the other one. Okay. Remaining on duty until properly relieved.
Okay, what does that section say?
Members shall remain at their place of assignment until properly relieved by another member and officially dismissed by a superior officer. Members shall take leave from their duties only when authorized by their incident commander.
Okay. Did Crystal Guerra violate this section?
Yes, sir.
And again, why is this important? I mean, why can't somebody just, I want to get a burger, I want to get a snack. I mean, why is this so important for somebody who's stationed at a fire station?
Already covered this with both witnesses.
I actually have never asked this question before.
Covered with the last witness. Overruled.
Let's try that one.
Okay. The importance is because by the next level of supervision, by them knowing where their people are, he can understand whether he needs to bring more units of it for an emergency or backup if they're shorthanded, basically. We have a duty to serve our citizens. They're the ones that pay our taxes, so they expect us to be able to respond accordingly.
How many firefighters are stationed at Station 3?
Minimum 4.
Okay. And,
Other than Station 2 because it has 2 trucks.
okay. But Station 4 has 4?
Station 4 has 4. All of them have 4.
All of them have 4.
Station 2 has 2 trucks. That's what I say when I left.
And is it expected when a call comes out that all of the firefighters from that station go to the call?
Yes, sir.
Now, and again, I'm not trying to beat up on Lieutenant Garrett here in any way. I mean, is it possible to respond to a call with less than 4?
There's a possibility, but you're diminishing what they can do at a scene by having less people.
All right, how about the next one? It says maintaining communications.
Members on duty members on duty or when officially on call shall be directly available by normal communications or shall keep their office, headquarters, or superior officer informed by other means by which they can be reached when not immediately available. Members sent on a call shall, immediately upon the completion of the task, notify the dispatcher of the return to service.
Okay. Did she violate this rule?
I believe they did. She did.
All right, the next section says engines leaving districts, and then it goes into the following pages, talks about conditions for engines being out of districts. How did she violate these sections? Or why is this included?
Because she was out of her district, whether her engine wasn't, but she was out of her district. That's why it was included.
Yeah. Now let's drop down a little bit further. There's a section that says City of Pharr, Texas Personnel Policy Manual. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, and I'm sure everybody here understands this, but there are rules that are specific to firefighters, but do the firefighters also fall under this personnel policy manual?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay. And under here, it says Chapter 40, grounds for discipline. Okay, and it says job duty related conduct. So Did she violate these rules?
Yes, sir, she did.
And let's drop down just a little bit further. It says Chapter 45, Operations of Motor Vehicles. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Can you read that, please?
Authorized use of the city's motor vehicles is prohibited and is grounds for disciplinary action, including termination of employment. City vehicles shall not be used for personal errands or for personal travel. City motor vehicles shall only be utilized for city-related business.
Okay. On June 4th, 2021, when Lieutenant Guerra left Station 3, what vehicle did she use?
And she used the vehicle the vehicle that is assigned, the one that they use to go to do errands and do supplies with, not the engine company,
Is that a city vehicle or is that a personal vehicle?
city vehicle.
Did she have permission to use that city vehicle to conduct her personal business?
No, sir.
All right, let's drop down to the next part. It says finding of just cause and disciplinary consideration.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in this section, you appear to be saying that this appears to be your reasoning for the 5-day. Can you explain that?
Yes, sir. Due to her rank and her responsibility to be at the station and be able to respond, she should have communicated what she needed to be done, and we could have told her exactly what she needed to do. She took it upon herself to do these things without authorization.
Okay, can you do me a favor? Can you read, let me see, it's 1, 2, can you read the third sentence under that paragraph?
Therefore, further, as outlined above, you have a history and a pattern of leaving your duty station without permission.
Okay, so again, for purposes of clarity, the days that she's being disciplined for, March 24th, June 4th.
Objection leading and pupil.
Okay, what are the days that Lieutenant Garrett is specifically being disciplined for?
March 24th, June 4th.
Okay, is she being disciplined for January 11th?
No, sir.
Again, what is the purpose of January 11th in?
To show
discharge?
pattern.
Now, again, under the rules is, I know 180 days has been talked about. You need to be within 180 days in order to discipline somebody for days. Is that right?
100, the discipline has to be within the 180 days. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
What about a reprimand? Can somebody be reprimanded outside of 180 days?
There are circumstances where you can't.
All right, do me a favor and turn to Exhibit D7, please. Have you seen this document before?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is this document?
Uh, uh, Lieutenant Guerra's statement of what happened on June 4th.
Okay. You've read this document before?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there anything in this document where Lieutenant Garrett is saying that she had permission to be away from Station 3 on June 4th, 2021?
No, sir.
Does she admit in this document that she left Station 3 on June 4th, 2021 and picked up another firefighter at Station 1?
Yes, she does.
In this document, does she provide any type of proof or authorization for these actions? In other words, does she state that she had permission to do these things?
No, sir.
Does she admit in this document that she went to go handle a personal business-related issue?
Yes, sir.
It's also my understanding that there was a communications breakdown of some kind at Station 3 on June 4th, 2021.
Yes, sir.
All right. On the second paragraph of this document, can you read that first sentence for me, please?
While en route to District 3, Pharr contacted me via radio traffic and advised me to stand by for public service.
Okay. Next sentence, please.
While waiting for her call, I received a call from Delta 2, Lieutenant Felipe Peraza, inquiring on the status of Engine 3. He advised that there were no traffic for Engine 3 on the radio responding to an MVA on Cage and Juan Bailly. I concluded my phone call with Lieutenant Peraza to answer Pharr's incoming call. He also advised that there was a complete radio silence for Engine 3 and that she only received response acknowledged for Rescue 2. I proceeded to immediately call Engineer Isaac Molina to advise him of the emergency traffic. He advised that Lieutenant Pedraza had also just called him regarding the MVA and Engine 3 was already responding to it. Engineer Molina also advised that there had been no towing out or radio traffic whatsoever, and they were completely unaware of the emergency traffic for Engine 3. I concluded my phone call with Engineer Molina and proceeded to make my way to District 3 in a safe and timely manner.
Okay, so this statement seems to suggest, or it doesn't, I'm sorry, this statement doesn't suggest, it states that Lieutenant Garrett was away from Station 3 at all times relevant to June 4th.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Document speaks for itself.
Sustained.
all right. So does this document speak to whether or not, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'll rephrase my question. Does this document speak to whether or not Lieutenant Garrett was at Station 3 on June 4th?
She was at Station 3 up until this, at that particular moment when that call came in.
Okay. And when the call came in, was she at Station 3?
No, sir.
And in that first sentence, is she admitting to hearing radio traffic regarding this accident?
That's a conclusion I can pick up from it. I'm sorry.
Same objection.
Okay. I'll move on. Let's, that's okay. It's probably easier. I just have you read the statements. Let's go to Exhibit D5, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You seen this document before?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is this document?
It's Lieutenant Pedraza's statement of what transpired that day.
On June 4th, 2021?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Lieutenant Pedraza is with what station?
Station 2.
Okay, and on this day, which station responded to this motor vehicle accident?
Like I said, the station that was supposed to respond should have been Engine 3 and also Rescue 2 out of Station 2.
Oh, okay, so do you know which one actually responded?
Rescue 2 did.
Okay, and that's from Station 2?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's just kind of work our way down some of these timelines here. So go ahead on the first part. It says time 1621. What does that say?
Station 3 was dispatched for a motor vehicle at South Cage and Juan Bailly, and Rescue 2 responded to the MVA Code 1 status.
Okay, and then the next time installment?
Dispatch called Station 2 to see where Station 3 was located at, since they did not respond to the MVA. And Rescue 2 arrived at the location and Engine 3 did not arrive.
Okay. Now on this one, it says that Engine 3 did not arrive, but in her statement, did she testify as to whether or not she heard the call come in?
Through the speculation, because she heard Pharr come, I believe she heard the call.
Do you have any knowledge as to whether or not she contacted Firecom to let her know that she was away from her station?
None to my knowledge.
And just for purposes of clarity, is Firecom essentially the dispatch for the fire department?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead and read the third time installment, please.
Lieutenant Peraza proceeded to call Delta 3, Lieutenant Guerra, and advise her if Station 3 was responding to the motor vehicle accident located at South Cage in Juan Bailly. The Lieutenant Guerra responded that Station 3 was already at location.
Okay, so this appears to be Lieutenant Pedraza saying that he called Lieutenant Guerra, and Lieutenant Guerra told him that Station 3 was already there on scene.
Lieutenant Guerra, yeah, correct.
But was Station 3 on scene?
No, sir.
The next time installment, please.
Lieutenant Peraza called Engineer Isaac Molina and asked if they were responding to the accident. Engineer Molina responded that they were not responding since they did not hear the tone off for the motor vehicle accident. Engine 3 and crew were still at the station and personnel were not aware of any accident since they did not hear the radio traffic.
Okay, so again, we're here because of these two incidents. It's March 24th and June 4th. It's a 5-day disciplinary suspension. Did you take into account, though, these miscommunications that were going on here and the difficulty in responding to this particular motor vehicle accident when determining your discipline?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you also take into consideration all the documents contained in here from D1 to D7?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that all of the evidence It's been attached, this notice and order of discipline and the testimony that you've heard here today. Support the 5-day discipline that you gave to Lieutenant Guerra?
I believe it does.
And what are you asking the commission here to do today?
You upheld the suspension.
At this time, I'll pass the witness subject to any redirect.
Hey, Chief Pettis, how you doing this
Fine, thank you, sir.
morning, I think still? And we've met before, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I was at the hearing that you had for her. She was given an opportunity to respond to some allegations, correct?
Correct.
Okay, well, you've got the notebook there in front of you. Let's go ahead and turn to B, shall we?
Yes, sir.
Tell the commission what this letter is.
That's a 614 notice of complaint and investigation.
So you were investigating 1, 2, 3, 4 different allegations?
It's been 5, sir. There's 5 there.
Okay. Let's see. I've got January 11th, 2021, a March 24th, 2021, May 8th, 2021, and June 4th of 2021, correct?
Correct. Oh, you're talking about the dates?
Well, I'm talking about what you were investigating.
Yes,
That was 4 different items?
yes, sir.
Okay. And these were ones that you were saying that she was required to give a statement about those, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did she give a written statement? Was it recorded? How was that done?
She said, I believe it was an email from you.
Okay, let me back up.
Okay.
Again, the same thing I told the other assistant chief. You do realize you're under oath,
Yes, sir.
and you understand that the same penalties for perjury and untruthfulness apply at this proceeding?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, and so if you're not sure of something, just say you're not sure. But if you say something under oath, you understand that you could be subject to perjury.
Objection, badgering. It was a confusing question.
You
I think you need to just re-clarify your question.
understand that?
I understand that.
Okay, so with respect to the fact that you were investigating 4 different items, correct?
Correct.
All right, and then with respect to my saying, did she respond to this? And you said you thought it was an email from me responding to it?
To the best of my recollection, sir, now that you mentioned that, I think I received a letter from her.
Okay, and is that something that you should consider when you're determining whether or not she violated these items?
I did, sir.
Okay, show us in Exhibit C, D, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, or D7 where that letter is.
Which, her letter?
Yes, sir.
It's in the file, sir, in my other file.
No, with the packet that you sent to the commission.
I didn't use, I used, if you'll notice on my charging letter, I took away one of the charges that were mentioned in this.
Tell us which one. Compare them to 2 and tell the commission which charge you took away.
The May 8th, 2021 that I had put on there ended up being May 21st. And the collaboration wasn't so much there in regards to insubordination.
Okay, so you took that one charge away, leaving just January 11th, March 24th, and June 4th, correct?
Wrong, sir. I only took January 11th as a consideration because it's past 180 days.
I understand that you're saying that now, but when you sent the letter, was it past 180 days?
No, sir.
Okay, so you were investigating it then at the time?
At the time I was.
Okay, so then when you testified previously under oath that you weren't, you were mistaken.
No, sir. The charging letter is only, the charging letter I can use it only as a reference.
Well, we'll get to that. But what I'm asking is when you sent this letter to her, she provided you with a written response, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you did not include that in the packet you sent to the commission, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now let's look at the next one, the notice of contemplated disciplinary action.
What
This
letter,
is
sir?
under C, sir.
See? Yes, sir.
And this one, again, now lists 3 things you're investigating, correct? January
Yes, sir.
11th, March 21st, May 21st, and June 4th. It has all 4 again still, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this was actually the hearing where she was asked to come in, correct?
Correct.
And you were there. I think the city attorney was there. You had someone from Human Resources there, correct?
Correct.
But I was not allowed to speak, really, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this was recorded, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So all the testimony you said about what she admitted to and what she said at the hearing and everything, well, you know we have recording backup of that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we can look at that and see exactly what was said as opposed to your trying to remember what was said, correct?
Wrong, sir. I have my own
Objection,
recording.
speculation.
I'm sorry?
Hold on, I have objection.
Sustain.
Sustain on that.
What was the objection?
Speculation?
Speculation.
You're asking him to speculate about something you haven't even played for. Just,
I don't think it calls for speculation to say that the
I think
actual,
they've already ruled on it.
excuse
but-
me.
Sustain. Go on.
The actual recording would be better than just you remembering, wouldn't it?
Objection argumentative.
Are you people taking the position that a memory is better than an actual recording?
What do you mean, you people? I don't understand.
Can you rephrase the question,
Sure,
sir?
I'll
I
be
don't
happy
understand.
to. And anytime any of my questions are confusing or you don't completely understand it, please ask me to rephrase it or rephrase it, okay? All right. Now, there was a recording made of that, correct?
Correct,
And so if a person was able to listen to that, they'd be able to hear exactly what she said, correct?
correct.
You still have that recording, do you not?
I do. I thought you had it, sir. You just told me you had it.
No, sir, I said you made a recording of that,
Oh,
correct?
okay. Then I misunderstood your question. Yes, sir, I have a recording.
Okay, and that hasn't been destroyed, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so any other people that are going to look at this can be able to look and listen to what was actually said as opposed to your memory of what was said, correct?
You are correct, sir. They can listen to it, not look to it.
They can listen to it, what?
They can listen to it, correct.
Now, with respect to that recording, was it ever transcribed?
It was uploaded into a server, for the city server, and copies have been made to the attorneys,
Have been provided to what attorneys?
labor attorneys.
Okay, but they haven't been provided to us.
Do you want
never
them?
asked for it, sir.
Do you want it?
Sorry.
We can give you you never asked for it,
Sure,
sir.
we'd love to have a copy.
I can give it to you right now.
Um,
Well, I'm just saying, like, we're bouncing around all these questions about something that may or may not be
Right
on
now.
an audio.
Give it to me right now.
You got it, no problem. Yeah, I've got copies for everybody. And if the commission wants and bypass all these questions, it can simply listen to the whole thing.
Thank you. And that wasn't attached to this, though, was it?
No, sir.
Nor was her statement as to what her explanations were for the other charges, correct?
No, sir.
Any reason those weren't included?
Because the factual grounds of why I did the decision was what is included only.
Now, let's talk about when you had this contemplated disciplinary action and pre-disciplinary hearing. When you asked her there to respond, you asked her to respond to the items that were on the page, correct?
Correct.
But you didn't provide her with D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, or D6, did you?
Not at that time, sir.
You didn't provide it to her until you had already suspended her, correct?
No, sir. I provided her at the time I suspended her.
Right, it was after you suspended her,
At the time I suspended her, sir.
right. In other
Right
words, she never had a chance to respond to those at all.
They're in the charging instrument, sir.
Well, if they're in the charging, why are they included here?
So she can see what my evidence is.
Right, but she never got a chance to see it beforehand and respond to it, did she?
She had in the charging letter, sir.
Okay. And just if we go now to your suspension letter on July 21st, again, it says factual grounds.
Excuse me, sir. Would that be D?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Are you there? Okay. It says factual grounds of the proposed disciplinary action. It lists 1, 2, and then 4, all 3 dates, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
And you're taking the position now that January 11th was not included, correct?
Correct.
Objection asked and answered.
And so why would it be continued under the factual grounds then?
You show patterns. sir.
Objection asked and answered. He's already answered that.
Excuse me, this is cross-examination.
Yeah, it is cross-examination, but he's already answered.
All righty. Now, with respect to January 11th, with this letter, who prepared this letter?
Which one, sir?
Okay, let's back it up so we'll make it real simple. With respect to Exhibit B, who prepared that letter?
Me and my attorneys.
Who typed it up?
Me and my attorneys.
Objection relevance.
You both typed it up, or they typed it up and you just signed it? Okay. With Exhibit C, who typed that up?
Objection relevance.
Okay. With Exhibit D, who typed that up?
Objection relevance.
All right. And so, and you realize, do you not, that when this is appealed to a district court, if they don't do anything here, that they'll be able to look at these documents and see exactly the writing that was done, the style that was done, and you'll have to eventually answer some of these questions.
Objection,
Understand that?
speculation, argumentative, and you're testifying.
Sir, Madam Chairman, is he gonna badger me like this?
You ain't seen nothing.
I'm sorry, what did you say,
I
Mr.
said
Holmes?
he has not seen any.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I thought you said he ain't seen nothing yet.
This is, no, not yet.
Oh, okay,
You
I'm
haven't seen
sorry.
any badgering. This is not badgering. It's just asking you questions. You understand that cross-examination is a way to try to get to the truth sometimes. You understand that?
Objection,
Correct.
speculation. Relevance.
It's already sustained. If we just want a running sustain, that's fine too.
No,
With
I'll
respect
take
to
my
the
time.
D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, any particular reason you didn't give her those so she'd have a chance to respond to those?
She had an opportunity.
No, you testified under oath that she had not been given these until after she was suspended, or the time she's suspended, correct?
You're leading me on the question I've told you before. There aren't the factual grounds for thinking of pre-disciplinary action.
Why did you include D7?
So you have a copy of it. That's where she's admitting that she was there.
Okay, what about the other ones? Didn't she admit in the other ones that she was there?
This was, I felt that this was enough proof that I needed.
Even though your assistant fire chief recommended 3 days, why did you say 5 days?
I felt because of her rank, it was more pertinent to go 5 days. And in fact, sir, since you bring this up, I offered her, if she would take responsibility, I offered her 3 days suspension with only 24 hours pay, which she declined to take.
Okay, did you, do you remember, since you brought it up and now you've opened the door to that, you told her she couldn't call her attorney at that time, didn't you?
She never said it was the attorney. She said she needed to call someone.
And you forbid that, didn't you?
At the time I did, but later on I relented and gave her the opportunity to call.
And when you're saying she had 3 days, if she admitted responsibility, that would be waiving any right to appeal, correct?
Correct, sir.
So it wasn't admitting responsibility because you already said in D7, she admitted she was out of the district, correct?
Correct,
And you said on the other 2 places, she admitted she was out of the district, correct?
correct.
So when you say here, your lack of acceptance of responsibility, well, she said she admitted it. Isn't that acceptance of responsibility in your mind?
No, sir.
Because of the fact that she didn't know she wasn't supposed to be there because she'd never been given a copy of the City of Pharr Fire and Police Civil Service Commission's rules and regulations, correct?
Objection, speculation.
Have you ever provided her with a copy of City of Pharr, Texas Fire and Police Civil Service Commission's rules and regulations?
Objection, relevance.
May I respond? Sure, it's entirely relevant because these are the rules that she's charged with knowing. And in fact, it even says you're required to read these, and ignorance of it isn't an exception, but you have to be given it to be able to know about it. So it's entirely relevant.
Okay, we went through all this with Assistant Chief Salinas. In fact, we went probably 30 minutes worth of questions down the same road. And it was my understanding that these questions were sustained, or the objections to these questions were sustained.
You understand the question, Chief?
That they sustained his objection, can't answer it.
I didn't hear the sustain. Are you sustaining the objection to finding out if she ever was provided a copy? Okay, well then you're shutting me down. That's it. We'll be talking later, Chief.
Are you passing the witness?
I have been shut down. I haven't been able to ask the questions.
I think you just stopped asking questions.
No, the question is, Chief, how do the firemen get a copy of this? How do they get that?
The rules are, which one are you talking about, sir? Because there's 2 different rules.
Okay, first
And you
of all,
keep confusing one with the other. You keep confusing one with the other. Please specify which one are you talking about?
I was trying to when you interrupted. The City of Pharr, Texas Fire and Police Civil Service Commission's rules and regulations.
They're
How
on
do they
the,
get a copy of that?
they're on the server, I believe, in the city where they can get a copy of it.
So anybody can go get a copy?
Yes, sir, they should be able to.
Well, should be able to or can.
My understanding, they should be able to, or ask for an open records on that one.
Well, but do you ever provide it to the people?
Objection, asked and answered.
No, it's never been answered.
Yeah, it has. And you're just
The answer-
badgering
what
him,
is the
hoping
answer,
that he's
though?
going to change his answer so that you can get to trap him in some type of lie or something on the record. That's all this is. You haven't asked him a single question with anything to do with any of the statements made here in the notice and order of discipline.
Since you said it was ask and answer. What was the answer? Did they provide him with the copy or
Just
not?
said, he just said he thinks they should be able to access it.
Let's move on.
Okay, well, again, I'm not being allowed to ask questions. Would you agree that you can't be held responsible for documents that you never got?
Speculation, objection, speculation. How is he supposed to answer that?
Okay. Have you read the City of Pharr Fire and Police Civil Service Commission's rules and regulations?
I have, sir.
Okay. Is it a violation of the rules and regulations for you to use a company vehicle to do certain items and run personal errands?
If I'm not authorized, you're correct, sir.
Okay. And with respect to the hearing that you had, do you remember Lieutenant Guerra saying that she was just running to pick up her personal vehicle, which has been accepted practice for years as set by examples of everybody? And you said, well, I'm not aware of that happening. Do you remember that being on
Yes,
the
sir.
tape? And do you remember telling her, well, provide me with names of people that have done that?
Yes.
Okay, let me show you exhibit number one. You remember her providing you with this document?
Hold on, before you answer that, I'm assuming you have copies, right?
I do.
Okay, let's circulate those, please. Do I need to come up there and get it from you?
I've got a thing on
Sorry.
it. I didn't want to do that, but
Just normal will do that. Thank you.
do you remember receiving this?
Well, hold on a second, I'm looking at the
Well,
document.
I'm asking him just to.
I don't care, I'm asking you to hold on to your questions till I see what you've actually produced here. Okay, let the record reflect this appears to be some type of email letter from the attorney to the chief. I don't know what relevance this has, but go ahead.
And again, where do you see anywhere that this, do you see anywhere that this is an email from me to you?
My understanding is from Lieutenant Guerra.
Okay, and so council maybe just misspoke?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you were going so fast, I didn't really have a chance to look it over. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We'd offer exhibit one, hearing exhibit one,
For what?
for the purposes of showing exactly what the practice and pattern was there.
I'm gonna object to lack of foundation, and you haven't asked any questions about it.
Well, Chief Pettis, do you remember getting this document?
Yes, sir, I do.
And was it specifically as requested by you?
No, sir, then I request a letter on me. She told me she had other officers that have been doing the same thing that she had. She never provided me anything on other officers.
Well, actually, you're an officer, correct?
Correct,
You're another officer, correct?
correct.
And she provided you with situations where you struck a vehicle with your department vehicle in the parking lot after visiting the Sprint store, that you picked up meat at Aguilar's Meat Market in Edinburgh using a company vehicle. And again, you're also subject to the same requirements of the city of Pharr, right? You can't
Correct.
use personal vehicle, okay? You paid your wife's vehicle payment and a house payment on numerous occasions at McCollum 495.
Okay, I'm objecting to this line of questioning, and I'm objecting to this document. Again, Chief Pettis is not on trial. It's clear what you want to do here, which is put everybody in the fire department on trial and not stick to anything having to do with the notice and order of discipline. He's not here to answer your questions about his personal whatever.
And visited by.
Hold on a second. I'd like to get a ruling on that.
Go ahead and go on.
You see in the letter where she says, let me know if you want me to continue to check with other personnel. Did you ever respond to that?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. And again, with respect to, we'd offer this, this is a document that's in your records, correct?
Correct,
And it was one, and she sent to you in response to your request, correct?
correct.
Okay. We'd ask that exhibit one be admitted.
I'm okay with the document coming in. I'm just objecting to the parts of it, which appear to put him on trial, but y'all can figure out what you want to do with it. Thank you.
Mrs. Kane?
The document's been offered. There's no objection. Is it admitted?
No, there is
Objection.
objections, actually.
It has been admitted.
Okay, thank you. Do you remember her giving you what's been marked as hearing exhibit 2? I'm bringing it to you right here.
Yes, sir.
You remember at her hearing, specifically asked, have you investigated my complaint yet? Do you remember what you said on the record?
I told you that this was not reference to this particular case.
You remember saying it's still being investigated?
I don't remember that.
We've got the tape though now, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and at any rate, at that time, even though she had filed a complaint against an individual, you never investigated that, did you?
Yes, sir, we did.
Did you ever advise her of what the results was?
At the time, if you look at the letter, sir, there's no charges here against the individual. There's just her opinion about the individual. She never formally charged the individual or any misconduct or anything like that.
But you can look at the City of Pharr, Texas Fire and Police Civil Service Commission's rules and regulations, and you are bound by that to actually charge people when you think there's a violation, correct?
Correct.
And she's given you information that shows 5 or 6 clear violations, correct?
I don't see where the individual, two things, sir. One, I don't see her charging the individual with misconduct on this. She's telling me her opinion about what he does. Number two, this was given to me after the individual complained on her,
Actually, this is,
which could be presumed as retaliation.
yeah, except that this one was, it preceded it. This was January 21st of 2021.
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't get it till after.
You have the records, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so we'll be able to see that at some point?
Objection,
Correct. And
relevance.
so you would agree that if somebody files a complaint, you would agree then that if somebody files a complaint after somebody else does, that's retaliation?
Objection. I'm going to instruct the witness not to answer this question. This has nothing to do with this trial or this hearing. What does this have to do with this hearing?
With respect to, and again,
Is this a retaliation case I don't know about?
oh, yes, absolutely.
It is.
Did you?
Your client's
did-
being disciplined with retaliation.
Excuse me, is this man over here to your right your attorney?
He's a city attorney, sir.
You know what?
Your attorney.
You know what? I'll leave it up to the commission. Okay, how about
You
that?
can instruct the witness not to answer.
I can if you're going overboard and badgering, but I'm asking you, hey, look, I'm asking you if you want to clarify your question. I'm willing to listen to it.
We want the questions to stay on the table.
Absolutely. And so if this whole case is just a retaliation for her reporting somebody else?
No, sir.
Have there been other people that have, that you're aware of that have left and done personal errands, including yourself? Did you ever report yourself?
Objection, relevance.
And again, let's just stay with what the actual.
You remember the first assistant chief that testified, and you said that you agreed with everything he said, and he said that leadership starts at the top, correct?
Correct,
And that you're at the very top, correct?
correct.
And you lead by example, correct?
As much as I can, yes, sir.
Okay, and you expect your lieutenants to follow your lead, correct?
Correct.
And if you go and run personal errands on company time, they can do it too, can't they?
No, sir.
Only you.
No, sir.
Objection,
You have done it,
relevance,
though, haven't you?
argumentative.
We'll pass the witness until further time. We'd offer exhibit 2 at this time.
Okay, I mean, like I said, just to be fair, we put everything in there. Y'all can afford whatever weight. I have a relevance objection to it, but that's fine. We can let it in. Does the commission have any questions for Chief Bettis?
Anybody have any questions?
Just for the record, can you say that the document is admitted?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, subject to my
The
objections.
document is admitted because there was no objection. Thank you.
Any questions, Chief Pettis?
Thank you.
Thanks. Can I ask for a short bathroom break? Is that okay? Thanks very much.
Short recess. Thank you.
Are we on the record? Okay, great. At this time, the city rests. City rests its case. I'm sorry? Okay, if,
Okay, city and
thank you. He's correct, so the next thing, I guess, would be closing arguments. I-
We'll waive closing arguments.
Fair enough.
the city and
So he says they waive closing arguments, so you're
so
gonna,
we have the closing arguments.
Yes, is that okay? Can I present? Thank you. You mind if I stand? Is that okay?
oh, by all means.
Sorry to sit for a long period of time. First of all, thank you for your time today. in everything that we said in the opening, we told you that we were going to show you evidence, and the overwhelming amount of evidence, actually, that on March 24th, 2021, Lieutenant Crystal Guerra was away from her station, and she didn't have permission. On June 4th, 2021, she was away from her station, and she didn't have permission. And as my co-counsel said earlier on, it's a very simple case, and that's really why we're here today. And really, that's all the evidence was supposed to go to, was supposed to either confirm or deny that. Now, we provided you an enormous amount of evidence and nothing that has been disputed, and especially since Lieutenant Guerra has not presented any evidence here today that she was, in fact, away from her station on those dates and that she didn't have permission. Additionally, with that, the June 4th incident, as you heard through the testimony of Fire Chief Perez, was a debacle. It was a chaos in communications, and the city is not saying that Lieutenant Guerra is at fault for those communication issues, but Lieutenant Guerra was away from her station. She was in a city vehicle without permission. She was conducting personal business, which was she was going to take care of a personal reason. She did essentially commandeer another firefighter from a different station and took him out of service. While she did all this stuff, a call came in for a motor vehicle accident. She's away, she's not able to respond, and Station 3 had a communication problem, so they weren't able to respond. In looking at all this, Chief Perez testified that all this stuff together amounted to the 5-day discipline that he decided for her. You also heard testimony here today that it is in his purview and his purview only to discipline somebody. It's not the assistant chief's job, it's not the deputy chief's job, it's his. The deputy chief might say one thing, but he is ultimately the one that is responsible for that. You also heard testimony today about a January 11th incident. And you heard over and over again that January 11th was not one of the reasons that she was being disciplined for. However, it was included in the charging document to show a pattern. And that was established here during this hearing. You've heard a lot of testimony here today. Again, this is a disciplinary appeal. It's a corrective action. Lieutenant Guerra is not being terminated here. This is a 5-day suspension. And the hope, as Chief Perez testified to, was that she would just learn her lesson and move on and not do it again. And so because she's not accepting responsibility, we are asking you that you allow her to take accountability for these actions by upholding the 5-day discipline. Thank you.
Yes. Have any closing comments?
No, that's it.
Okay. We'll go on. Item 7A, consultation with legal counsel pursuant to section 551.0471, Texas Government Code to provide advice and counsel in connection with the Civil Service Commission's duties, obligations, privileges under Chapter 143 Texas Government Code and the rules and regulations adopted thereunder. In accordance with Section 551 of the Texas Government Code, the Civil Service Board of Commissioners hereby gives notice that we will meet in closed session to discuss the items listed on the public portion of the meeting agenda. Time being 11:47, we go into second session, closed session. Thank you. We have everybody back. We're back in open session, the time being 12:47. We'll go on to the items on the agenda from legal. Item A, no action. Item A, under the closed session, no action. But B, consideration and action and render a decision on the disciplinary appeal filed by Lieutenant Christy Guerra of the Pharr Fire Department pursuant to section 143-.053 Texas Local Government Code and the Pharr Civil Service Commission rules.
Yes, Chairman, after consideration of the arguments of both parties and the evidence presented, we deny the appeal and uphold the 5-day suspension.
Do I hear a second?
I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 And it's unanimous. You will get it. There will be a written order and it will follow. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? Yes.
I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 And this hearing and meeting is adjourned, the time being 12:49. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.